I've been meaning to do a video on mental health for a long time now, but I've always sort of been put off because I never really know how to express myself eloquently enough. It's such a wide reaching and complex subject that I always feel like I'm not going to say what I want to say, or my opinions and ideas are going to be misconstrued, or it's quite a minefield of something to tackle. So I've always been put off, but I think I'll just give it a go and see if any of you find it helpful, and if even one person does, then I'm happy. Today I just wanted to make a general video about how I've found it best to cope when sort of suffering with mental ill health, my tips and sort of experiences in terms of what works for me and what can help me sometimes. Now, before I start, obviously, I have to say this is purely based on my own experience, and mental health is very individual to everyone. It's something that's going to work for me, might not work for you. So, of course, this is just, as with all of my videos, it's just advice. Things might not work for you, things might work for you, so just give it a go and see. And obviously, videos online are no sort of replacement for professional help and any sort of help from any kind of healthcare professional. That is always number one. First, we can begin, I guess, with my own personal story. But I have experience with obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, depression and anxiety. These are sort of daily issues that I deal with myself, and I have experienced sort of bad episodes with throughout my life so far. And I think that I will probably be consistently experiencing and tackling for the rest of my life, realistically. So I'm not going to go into detail, and rather I'm going to focus on the positive side of things in terms of how I've found is best to cope with these sorts of low periods and periods where my mental health personally is at its worst. The first thing I would say is, when you're having a bad time, focus purely more on your self-care. So by this I mean making sure you're doing the basics for yourself. So that is eating, drinking, making sure that you are keeping somewhat active as much as you can, showering and doing the basics for you, just making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And it sounds really stupid, I suppose, if you've never experienced sort of mental ill health yourself. These are quite simple things, but when you are having a really bad time, it can easily kind of just completely slip your mind to do these basic things because you're just not in the right state. So making a conscious effort to remind yourself of the basics and to take care of yourself in the most basic of ways is really important. So it's good to put effort into that if you can. Tip 2 would be just take it day by day. Unfortunately, with mental health, it's a long-term thing. It's an illness. As much as I would like it to happen, you're not going to wake up one day and be completely cured of everything and be completely fine. It's a daily battle that you have to sort of fight and go through. And some days are going to be great and other days are going to be pretty crap. And this can last for months at a time. And, it's just one of those things. But the thing that I think helps me is just waking up every day and thinking, right, this is a new day. And I'm going to just take it slow, take it moment by moment. I'm not going to try and push myself too hard to do certain things, to feel certain things. I'm just going to see how I go along in the moment and give things a go. It's just about taking that pressure off yourself, I suppose, because you're not saying, hey, by next week I'll have all this done and I'll be completely fine and I'll be feeling better and everything like this, because you don't actually know until, from moment to moment, let alone day by day, how you're going to feel when you're having a rough time with mental health. Something that I have generally found helpful is finding ways to express myself through writing a journal and keeping notes of when I'm having particularly bad days, how I'm feeling, because that allows me to actually almost get rid of the feelings. To put them onto paper means that, okay, I've acknowledged them, they're there, and I can just move on now. Obviously, it doesn't always happen as simply as that, but I think it's a really good tool to try and have some way to express yourself. This could be through recording yourself talking, or so like a kind of vlog diary, or an actual traditional diary, more like what I have, or painting, or anything that you can get to actually get those feelings out onto paper is really healthy and a really good sort of almost cathartic practice. I think it can be cathartic at least, and hopefully it is. Learning about whatever mental health issue you are experiencing at the time, and learning from very obviously authentic and reputable sources, not just on forums and message boards online where any old person can write about it, but more, just going out and maybe getting some books out, going on NHS pages and seeking sort of information about your illness. I found this really helpful for myself. I actually took a course in recognising mental health issues, and it covered a whole range of different mental health issues, and I found that just learning about the different ones myself helped me in understanding how I go through things, how my mental health issues affect me, and how best to tackle them. And also, I think it makes you more understanding of other people's mental health issues and how everyone can experience things differently. And also, it just generally makes you feel less alien and less alone, because it's an actual identified illness that you're studying. It's not just you going a bit mad, or it's just not just you alone suffering through this. For other people, I'm aware it can be quite triggering to actually read about certain things, and especially if they're going through it themselves. So I would err on the side of caution with that one. It depends on how you feel as a person, what might help you and might not. Lastly, but most importantly, I would suggest to seek help. And yeah, it's a difficult thing to do. It's one of the most difficult things that you're probably going to have to do if you get to that stage. Just recognising and taking the steps to actually get the help you need. But there's absolutely no shame in it at all. I've been through counselling myself. I'm on antidepressants, and I have been for the past 5 years or so. I found that they help me quite a lot, but again, everyone's individual. There's absolutely no shame in getting the help that you need. If it's going to help you feel better, then why is there any sort of argument against getting it, I would give yourself time with any sort of professional help that you end up getting, because even though it might not feel like it's working straight away, over time you might feel like you have got some benefits from it. And if you haven't, there's tons of other things you can do. You can then talk to your doctor about the different options that you have. There's also the Samaritans that you can phone at any time, and volunteers are there to help talk you through different things and just calm you down when you're having the most rough times, which can be like, especially at night times, where many people find it's especially difficult. Just get any help you feel like you need, just try. There's no harm in trying, and there's absolutely no shame in it. I can't express that enough. If you need the help, don't be ashamed to go and get it. In fact, you're a very strong person for deciding to go and get it and taking the actions to do so. I hope that you found these tips quite helpful for you, at least if not for yourself, maybe for anyone else that might be, that might be going through a rough time with mental health issues.